We'll begin by standing at the top of our mat. Inhale, mountain pose. Bringing the hands to heart space, taking a moment to ground into the feet, step into your presence, and connect to your breath. Reach the arms high, mountain. Step the right foot back, a nice narrowed stance, maybe 1 foot. Elongate through the side bodies, reach the arms forward. Pyramid pose. A narrowed pyramid. Bend the knees, bring the hips down to the heels, round out through the upper back and the mid back. Straighten through the legs. Drop the hips to the heels. 2 more rounds. We'll lower the hips down to the heels. I'll call this sprinter stance. We'll be finding it quite a few times throughout our flow. Fingertips on the mat, shoulders hug underneath the armpits, and the breath is moving into the back of the lungs, the back side of the body. Straighten through the legs. Take the left hand, bring it out behind the left calf to hold on to the outer right shin. Level off through the hips, soften through the head. And just notice what sensations you're beginning to generate. And how the breath adds or subtracts to those sensations. The left hand will release down, rising all the way up to a narrowed star. Arms reach, feet plant, side body lean up and over to the left. Taking the right hand to the outside of the left hip, giving your hips something to press into, coming back up through center. Side body lean over to the left. Left hand comes to right hip. Narrowed star, a deep breath in to the upper and the lower body. Forward fold over the right leg. Hold on to the right ankle. Gently pull the chest down towards the leg. And bring some weight into that left foot. That helps to balance out the pelvis. The fingers will come down. The weight shifts into the heels, picking up the toes, narrowed pyramid to the back of your space. Sprinter stance, bending through the knees, bringing the hips down to the heels. Pressing through the feet, straightening through the legs. 2 more rounds with your breath. It's a nice opening through the left sole of the foot, stability through the right foot. Walk the fingers back, bring the shoulders to stack on top of the hips and hug the inner thighs towards one another. The left hand will come to the outside of the right thigh. The right arm will extend back. Extend the spine long, revolve the ribs up and around. Release, come back to sprinter stance. Straighten through the legs, narrowed pyramid. The right hand will come behind the right calf, hook onto the outer left ankle. You're hugging the inner thighs towards one another, drawing the outer hips to the midline. It's feeling sensation as you release through the neck and through the upper shoulders. Narrowed star as your release. Feet ground, side body lean up and over to the right. Back through center, side body lean up and over to the left. With the feet a little wider, you can shift the hips out to the side making an exaggerated motion. Forward fold over the left leg, hold on to the ankle and gently hug chest towards knee. Lean the weight back onto the heels, pick up through the toes, narrow pyramid back to the front of your space. Sprinter stance. Belly draws in, rounding out through the back. And then lifting up, shifting that weight forward slightly. The collarbones will widen, the neck elongates. Round through the back. And pull the heart through. Round through the back. Straighten through the legs. Both hands come around the back of the right thigh. Press the right thigh into the hands. Both legs are working to stabilize, finding balance. Release the fingers down to the mat. Sprinter stance into a sprinter standing splits. The right heel is going to hold on. Come close to the right sit bone. Right knee draws up to the sky. Firmly press through the left foot. Draw the right knee up to hip height. And then begin to pulse the foot and the thigh up towards the sky. The right leg will come to meet the left, forward fold. Up to mountain, forward fold. Right leg steps back, sprinters, up to a standing split, sprinters. Step it back to a low lunge. Toe heel that left foot out, come down onto the forearms and begin to rock the weight forward and back. The targeted area is the outer hip, the front line of the right side. So where are you feeling positive stress in the body? Where are you feeling those tissues beginning to adapt? The front foot will meet the back, forearm plank. Hold firm in your forearm plank. To minimize the swaying in the lower back, curl the tailbone towards the nose and slowly lower the belly all the way down to the mat. Sphinx pose, forearms, palms press into the mat, the chest lifts up. Heart threads through. Lower down. Tops of the feet press into the mat. The belly lifts off the mat, engaging through the core, coming into a forearm plank. Tops of the feet grounded. Pressing into the tops of the feet, squeezing the quadriceps up towards the hamstrings, engaging through the lower body, lower belly, lower hips, Sphinx pose. Elbows still hugging, staying engaged through the upper back. Lower down, belly lifts, feet press into the mat. Lower hips, belly, chest, press up to Sphinx. Forearm plank. Uncurl the toes, bring the hips up high. Dolphin pose, walk the toes up as much as you need till you feel a lift of the hips. You're in an inverted V shape. The sole of the foot is stretching down towards the earth. The tissues of the upper back surrounding the shoulders, around the shoulders, all begin to fire up. Dolphin, downward facing dog. Pressing the arms straight, reaching the hips back, tractioning the crown of the head forward. The feet will meet your hands at the top of your mat. Rise up to mountain pose. Hands come to heart. Take a moment to feel the grounding of your feet, the solidness of the base beneath you. Mountain pose. The left leg will step back to a narrowed pyramid. Reach the arms forward, hinging at the hips, narrowed pyramid. Set the feet where it feels good, so you can lower the hips all the way down to the heels. Lift, straighten through the legs, and bend deeply through the knees. Holding in your sprinter stance, rounding through the back, drawing the front of the ribs towards the back of the body. You may feel some achiness around the upper spine, shoulders, allowing that tension to soften away with the breath. Narrowed pyramid, both legs straighten. The right hand comes behind the right leg and holds on to the outer left thigh. Small micro adjustments, shifting the hips around to where you feel the most sensation. I feel it down my right outer leg line, my left outer leg line, and even some release up into my upper spine. But it'll vary for everybody. Releasing the hands, rising up to a narrowed star. Side body lean up and over to the left. Up through center. Side body lean up and over to the left. Narrowed star. Forward fold over your left leg, your back leg. Notice if the shoulders want to creep up, that's all right. Just notice what the upper body is doing as the torso lays towards the back leg. Fingertips come down, lean the weight into the heels, narrowed pyramid to the back of your space. Sprinter stance, narrowed pyramid. How are your knees tractioning as they bend down and as the hips sit low? Hold your sprinters, hug the inner thighs, walk the fingers back and come set the shoulders on top of the hips. Hug in through the midline, pull in and up through the core. The right hand comes to the outer left thigh. The left hand extends behind you. Release, come back to a sprinter stance, straighten through the legs, narrowed pyramid, rise up to a narrowed star. Forward fold over the right leg, chest draws towards the shin, weight shifts slightly into that left leg. Fingertips ground, narrowed pyramid to the front of your space. Sprinter stance, rounding through the back, and then extending up through the chest. With the breath, rounding through the back, opening up through the chest. As I round through the back, I like to think of my third eye gazing at my tailbone, so it makes this nice circular connection. Chest comes up, lift up through the collarbones, straighten through the legs. Both hands come behind the left thigh. Press the left thigh into the palm of the hands. Just feel what's working. How is the blood? How is the breath moving into the lower body, into the head? Fingertips ground down. The left leg steps forward. Rise up to mountain pose. Forward fold. Rise up to mountain. Left leg steps back, narrow pyramid. Sprinter stance. Coming up onto the ball of the left foot. Sprinters, standing splits. Left knee up to hip height. Shifting the weight more into that inner leg line on the right side, bringing some more stability into the pose. Continue to pulse that leg for 3, 2, and 1. Left leg reaches long behind you for low lunge. Toe heel the right foot out wide, dropping the forearms down to the inner part of the right thigh, to the inside of the right thigh. Runner's lunge. Rock forward and back. The front leg will step back to forearm plank. Forearm plank, lower all the way down to the belly. Sphinx. Lift the front ribs off of the mat. Soft belly rests on the mat. Tops of the feet ground in. Belly lifts. Core engages. Lower down. Sphinx pose. Core engages. So your core is the entire trunk of the body. You're lifting the front of the body up to the back side of the body. Lower back down. Forearm plank. Hold, curl the toes underneath you. Bring the hips up. Dolphin pose, walk the toes in slightly. Continue to work the elbows towards one another. And dolphin can be challenging because the muscles of the upper shoulders are small muscles, so they can fatigue, or they do fatigue a little quicker. It's a deep breath in and a full breath out. Downward facing dog. This time the opposite hand will press up to straighten through the arms. Reach the chest back towards the thighs. Deep breath in and out. Feet meet your hands at the top of your mat. Rise up through mountain pose. Hands come to heart. Right leg lifts. Arms extend up. Spiral the pinkies towards one another. Step the right leg back to crescent. A few breaths in crescent lunge. Feeling your way into your shape. And settling in that place where you feel connected. You're integrating into your sensations. Crescent to star. Star to horse. Pressing earth and sky away, the right palm reaches for the ceiling. Left palm reaches down for the earth. The palms are flat, the fingers are reaching towards one another. Switching out. Earth and sky. Left arm reaches up. Right palm down to the ceiling. Continue to draw those knees wide by engaging through the outer thighs. With breath. Good. We'll even ourselves out. Come into a strong horse. Feeling how those femur bones are rested into the socket, how those little muscles around the hips are engaging. Rise up through star. Crescent to the back of your space. Adjust as needed. Soften where you can. And continue to connect. Slowly lower down to crescent moon. The left knee will lower down to the mat. The fingertips will come to frame the top foot. Half Hanuman, straighten through the right leg. And then lunge deeply in to that right knee. Straighten through the right leg. And bend deeply into that crease of the right hip, finding a compression as you lean the weight forward. Straighten through the right leg, hold here. Bringing the edge of the right foot down to the mat. This might be enough sensation for you, otherwise you're going to begin to walk the hands over to the right hand side and lean the weight slightly into the outer left hip. Notice what's stabilizing you. Where you're feeling elongation, where you're creating some space within the body. Walking the hands back around, pointing the toes up, planting through the right foot. Sprinter standing splits. Left heel comes in close to the seat. Lift the knee up to hip height. Hamstring begins to fire, kneecap points down, step it back, rise up to crescent. Crescent to star, star to horse, pressing earth and sky away. Coming back through star. Reaching long away from the trunk of the body, arms and legs. Crescent back to the front of your space. Toe heel the front foot out. Bring the forearms down for a runner's lunge. Rocking weight forward and back. Left leg will come to meet the right, forearm plank. Forearm plank to dolphin. Walking the toes up, dolphin push-ups. Bring the chest to hover between the forearms. Press through the forearms and the palms of the hands. Lift the hips back up. Shift the chest, the heart over the palms of the hands. Lift the hips back up. Maintaining length in the spine. Integrating the obliques, the transverse, the multifidi, all the muscles that corset around the core. Help to bring stability to the body. Dolphin pose, downward facing dog. Feet meet your hands at the top of your mat. Rise up to mountain pose. Left knee lifts up, step back to crescent. Tune up your crescent. Each side may feel different as you work to find some neutrality, some balance between the sides. Crescent to star, star to horse. Press earth and sky away. And press earth and sky away. Reach through the palms of the hands. Stretch out through the fingers. I say a lot of energy points move in and out through the fingers and through the toes. Our meridian lines begin and end there. Horse into star. Crescent to the back of your space. I like to draw my right femur bone forward as I pull my left femur bone back. Lower down to crescent moon, keeping the arms reaching up to the sky. Hands frame front foot, half Hanuman, straighten through the left leg. Exaggerate the lean forward into that left hip. So feeling where that compression limits your range of motion. That bone on bone or tissue on tissue where you can't move any further. The left leg will straighten, the left toes point up. Bring the edge of the left foot down to the mat and begin to walk the hands around towards the left. Elongate the spine. Feel into your body. Where is the breath moving? Walking the hands back around. Bringing the left foot to plant down, standing sprinter stance. Right heel lifts up towards the seat. Step it back to crescent. Crescent through star. Star to horse. Press earth and sky away. Press earth and sky away. Settle deep into your horse. Crescent back to the front of your space, toe heel, the front foot out a little wider, making space for the forearms to land. Runner's lunge. Right foot meets the left, forearm plank. Dolphin, hips lift up, toes walk forward. Spread the base of the rib cage nice and wide. Lift up the creases of the pelvis. Dolphin push-ups. Weight shifts forward. Even pressure through the forearms as you feel the shoulder blades and the chest and the arm bones glide forward and back. So we're building the strength that supports your posture. One more dolphin push-up. Coming up to a downward facing dog. Just notice how this downward facing dog may feel different than the others. Feet meet your hands at the top of your mat. Rise up. Mountain pose. Take a moment to ground into the feet. I would suggest 2 blocks for this next part of the sequence, one at the front of your space and one at the back of your space. Mountain pose. Keep the arms reaching, step the right foot back to a narrowed stance. Lower the hips down to the heels. Take the right hand, hold on to the outer right ankle. You'll bring the left fingertips to ground. Make your way up into a Shavasana, hip opener prep. The right knee will spiral open to the sides of the room as the hips begin to open up. You're holding the ankle towards the sit bone. You'll bend the left knee and bring the hip just square back to the earth. The knee points now down towards the mat. Good. With breath, open up the hip, open up the chest for a Trikonasana prep. Then bend through your stabilizing leg, round through the back and hover down. Open up. Trikonasana prep. Hover. Hovering that right knee, right shin as low as you can. The right leg will come to meet the left. Chair pose. Airplane arms. Chair. Mountain. The left leg will step back. Keeping the arms reaching, setting your gaze and lowering the hips down to the heels. The left hand will come to hold on to the left ankle. Trikonasana prep. Shift the weight onto the right leg. Keep the left ankle towards the right sit bone. Open up the kneecap to the sides of the room. The inner thigh faces the mat. Bending deeply through that right leg. Ooh, balance, balance. Bending deeply through that right leg. Opening up through the hip. 2 more times with your breath. Bending deeply and open up through the hip. It's very stabilizing through that right side, opening up through the hamstring and the quadricep, or engaging through the hamstring. Lower down. Bring the knee and the shin to hover. Left leg meets the right. Chair pose. Airplane torso. Chair. Forward fold. Rise up through mountain. Hands come to heart. The right leg steps back for warrior 2. Warrior 2. Spiraling the thighs out. Drawing the navel and the spine up. Drawing the navel in, elongating the spine up. Reverse warrior. Extended side angle. Reverse warrior. Half moon. Here's where the block comes in handy. The back leg's gonna lift. Reach long out of the top leg. And continue to press firmly through the stabilizing leg. The right heel will come into the seat for Trikonasana. Standing back bend, balanced on one leg. The quadricep begins to open up. The hamstrings engage, drawing the heel in towards the seat. Release Trikonasana, half moon. Extended side angle. Warrior 2. Star. Horse. Star. Warrior 2 to the back of your mat. Reverse warrior. Extended side angle. Reverse warrior. Flowing with your breath, half moon. Trikonasana. Draw the knee behind the hip, open up through the chest. Find a nice extension up and out through the spine. Square the hips down. Dancer. Pressing firmly down through that right leg, rising up through your dancer. Kicking the foot into the hand, extending the chest up. We'll make our way out the same way we came in. Bending through the right leg, Shavasana. Opening up through the hip, half moon. Half moon, extended side. Extended side to warrior two. Warrior two to star. Star to horse. Star. Warrior two to the front of the room. The front of your space. Runner's lunge. Pivot on the ball of the back foot. Bring the forearms down to the mat. Forearm plank. Dolphin pose. Walk the toes up. Extend the left leg up to the ceiling. Forearm kicks. You're going to kick the right foot up, drawing the heel in towards the seat. A few times. And child's pose. To recenter. To ground. Child's pose, downward facing dog. Feet meet the hands at the top of your mat. Rise up to mountain pose. Left leg lifts, warrior two. Single leg Tadasana, warrior two. Reverse warrior. Extended side angle. Reverse warrior. Half moon. Half moon to Chapasana. Hamstring brings in that heel. Chest opens up. Half moon is your release. Reach long out of the top leg, extended side angle. Warrior two. Up to star. Into horse. Rise up through star. Warrior two to the back of your space. Reverse warrior. Extended side angle. Reverse warrior. Half moon. Deliberate with that reaching long of the leg. You want to stay active through that leg as you resist gravity. Chapasana. Chapasana to dancers. Hips will square back down towards the mat. Dancers to the back of your space. And the breath is there to stabilize the wiggles or even them out, balance them out a little bit. Making the way out the same way you came in, Chapasana. To half moon. Extended side angle. Warrior two. Reverse warrior. Warrior 2, up to star. Star to horse. Star. Warrior 2. Runner's lunge. Pivot on the ball of the back foot. Forearm plank. Dolphin. The right leg will lift up, forearm, handstand preps, or forearm preps. After a few rounds, make your way back into child's pose, grounding that energy. Downward facing dog. Feet meet your hands at the top of your mat. Rise up through mountain. Right leg steps back for a warrior 1. Eagle arms, interlace the arms. The right elbow swings underneath the left. Back bend with eagle arms. Warrior 1. Humble warrior with eagle arms. Scoop the outer left hip in. Bring stability with the breath. Unwind the arms for runner's lunge. And straighten through the arms, toe heel the right foot across. Lowering the hip down, deer pose. The right knee will swing in. Chest walks forward. Arms lengthen forward. So deer pose, working into the outer hips. You might feel a stretch through the inner right thigh. But I don't like to be specific because everybody's body is different. So everybody's going to feel this in a different area with different intensities. Walking the hands back. Bringing the fingertips behind you for half heroes. Lowering down to the forearms or taking it all the way down onto the back. I like to heavy my knee, lift the outer right hip up. Stay present with the breath. Pressing into the forearms, making your way back up. Hands plant in front of the shin. Right leg steps back, left leg comes to meet it. Downward facing dog. Feet meet your hands at the top of your mat. Rise up through mountain pose. Step back to warrior 1. Eagle arms, left elbow underneath the right. Lift the fingertips up for a back bend. Continue to stabilize through the lower body. Warrior 1, humble warrior 1 with eagle arms. Hug the outer right hip in. Maybe rock the weight forward and back. onto the front foot, the back foot. And wind the eagle arms. Pivot on the ball of the back foot, runner's lunge. Straighten through the arms, toe heel the right foot across. Deer pose, the left knee will draw in. Walking the hands forward. And taking 3 deep breaths. Those 3 deep breaths remind the parasympathetic nervous system to stay alert, to keep us calm and receptive, even as we move through these dynamic shapes and transitions. Walking the hands up. Hero's pose. Bringing the hands behind you, making your way into heroes. Settling the left hip down, the left knee down, lifting the left hip up slightly, or tiny little micro adjustments through your pelvis, through the placement or the heaviness of the knee, the relaxation of the feet. And slowly make your way out. I wish there was a graceful way to come out of this, but I haven't found one quite yet. Hands plant in front of the shin, left leg straightens, right leg comes to meet it, high plank. Downward facing dog. Walk the feet to meet your hands. Rise up through mountain pose. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a moment to seal in your practice. What shifts have occurred? What adaptations? What transformation? Each practice is unique. We begin to pay attention to those subtle shifts, reminding ourselves how movement can bring about change, physically as well as mentally. Reach the arms up, mountain pose, forward fold. Hips lower down to the heels. Bring the hips all the way down to the mat. Lower yourself onto your back. Draw the knees in. Gentle rocks from side to side. Trunk of the body, the spine, all supported by the earth. Any undue tension begins to melt away. Straighten out through the legs, elongate out through the arms for a final Shavasana. A moment to rest and to marinate. In what you've cultivated. We'll end practice here with light, love, gratitude, and grace. Namaste.